for pennies. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the Kanger Mini Protank 2. Alright, so I know I talk about a lot about boxing, but you really cannot beat this one. How it's packaged, it's great. Alright, so when you open it up, you got the instruction manual. Tells you everything you need to know. Alright, so in this box, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see this Kanger Mini Protank 2 itself, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about in a second. Then you get your base. This is what actually screws in to your Ego batteries, your Z-Maxes, any mods you may have. This is what screws into it. And these guys right here, these are your replacement wicks. Each of these are set at 2.5 ohms, but you can pick up a lower resistance at SmokingAwayForPennies.com. Or you could even pick up a higher one. It's just a personal preference thing. Okay, so whenever you're ready to fill this thing, this is pretty much all you need to do. You want to take the base and the coil, and you actually want to screw the coil into the base. Make sure you screw it in the side with the O-ring because the other side has an opening and it won't fit. Screw it in nice and snug in there. Don't try to force it too tight, but it's a pretty simple process. So next, you're actually going to want to fill this with liquid. This is a bottom-fed tank, meaning the coil is going to be on the bottom instead of the top. So what I'm going to do is actually fill it on the bottom. Alright, so if you look straight down in there, that little center post that you see all the way through, and you don't want to get any liquid in there because ultimately it'll just come shooting out your drip tip. So what you're going to do, it's much like the original Protank, you're just going to fill it up around the sides. So I'm using a bottle of VG-based Pennies Girl, personal favorite flavor, I vape it all the time. I'm just going to take it, shove it down in there. I'm making sure I don't get any in that center post. As you can see, it's starting to fill up. Another good thing about these tanks is that they do not flood, so you can fill them pretty much all the way up, unlike cartomizer tanks or clearomizers. Alright, so now my tank is full of liquid. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my base, where I have my coil screwed in on, and I'm going to put it right down the middle right there. And just screw it on in. Alright, when you feel it get nice and snug in there, you're good. That's it. That's all it takes. Okay, so when it comes to actually refilling and cleaning this thing, this is what you're going to want to do. All you got to do is actually unscrew this bottom cap right here. And some people actually take the tank and just pour it straight into their bottle of liquid, but I think it's a little bit quicker personally to actually just go ahead and use a syringe. So I'm going to put a syringe down the side. Remember, not this post right here, down the side right here. I'm just going to start sucking the juice out. Remember, VG-based e-liquids are generally a lot thicker, so it will take a little bit longer to actually pump these through a syringe. Alright, so to clean this, I already have the base and the coil disassembled. All you gotta do next is actually just unscrew the glass right here, this is pretty much the biggest difference between the Protank and Protank 2 as far as the minis go. But I'm just going to unscrew that and then pull this right off, and you can actually clean your glass unlike the Protank 1. So I've got all the pieces for the Protank Mini, and I just need to clean them. So I'm at my sink right now, and all you really have to do is run these under water and wash them off. It's a pretty simple process. And yes, your wick is fine if you wash it. If you want to change flavors, I recommend doing this, but make sure it's dry of all actual water before you screw it back into the Protank, which, along with all this stuff, you really want to make sure that there's no water inside of it. Alright, so that's it. Now I got these sitting on a napkin over here and show you how to dry them and put them back together. So it's time to put this thing back together. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is actually take your glass and then take the bottom piece of the glass and put them back together. One thing you want to notice though is there is a little rubber piece right here that actually prevents any leakage or anything of that matter. But the thing is, there's also one on top, but it generally stays in the cap whenever you take it off. So what you want to do, if there is only one rubber piece, it's going to probably be for the bottom. So you're just going to want to take this glass and just put it over the bottom and just hold it there. It doesn't really screw in or anything, but this will actually lock it down, hold each other together. So once you take the top piece, you're going to take it, put it right in the middle right there, and just screw it until you get it nice and snug. And then this is what actually makes the Kanger Protank not leak, is because it really has no openings. It's just a well-built tank. Alright, so once you got this nice and snug, you're going to want to take your coil and put your base together. And like I said, make sure this coil is dried off or else it's not going to vape well. After you do that, you're just going to put it back together. Granted, this tank does not have liquid in it currently, but if you're going to store a tank, I recommend doing this to pretty much any tank. Make sure it's nice and clean and you'll be good.